logistics, and now San Bruces. It is also worth mentioning that I'm presently an industry lecturer for my alma mater, TIP. Alam nyo, nung bata pa ako, I did not enjoy what the kids are enjoying now. Or perhaps, what you enjoyed during your childhood. I never played with computers, PSP, and all the gadgets that are available in the market now. When I was in grade school, my father lost his job in a steel manufacturing company. We didn't have any other source of income since my mother was a full-time housewife. I studied in public school as my parents did not have enough money to send me to a private school. But I have never regretted going to a public school because the quality of education there at that time was comparable to private school education. You might be curious in asking yourself, where did we get our money to finance our daily lives? You won't believe it, but we were street vendors. We sold fresh vegetables and fruits in the street. We also raised hogs. Kaya every morning, my task was to collect kaning baboy from our neighbors before going to school. During those times, I could not even join Boy Scout, even if the school required me to. My reason, I could not afford to buy the uniform. And in my entire childhood, I only had one toy, given to me by my oldest sister, who bought it from my first salary. If not for the generosity of my sister, I would not have experienced having a toy at all. That toy is still kept in my closet. For my high school education, I also went to a public school. I took up part-time jobs just to have an allowance for my studies. I experienced selling ice candy, mag-igib ng tubig for my neighbors, and collecting kaning baboy. Despite the difficulties and constant lack of money, I never gave up on my studies. One day, I heard my parents talking about their dream for their children. Their dream was simple, to have a son with the title of engineer. Gusto nilang magkaroon ng anak na inhinyero. From that day on, I promised myself that I will be an engineer someday. Right after my high school graduation, I heard that TIP was one of the best engineering schools in the country. Hence, I took up engineering in TIP. At that time, the tuition of TIP was higher than in the public schools, which was understandable. But it was far more reasonable than other private schools. But again, our problem boiled down on how to finance my college education. I knew that I needed to look for a job. Fortunately, I was accepted as an usher in the University of Life, or Ultra, during my first year in college. I studied in the morning and worked in the evening. As an usher, I earned 60 pesos per day. May rasyon pang isang tinapay, pang merienda. I remember during my college days, my daily allowance in school was 15 pesos per day, which was not enough to buy a full meal. At ang kaya lang bilhin ng 15 pesos na baon ko ay isang tinapay at soft drinks. Kaya if my class schedule was full day, I cannot eat full lunch. I cannot buy kanin at ulam, at hanggang tinapay at soft drinks lang ako. The T-square and technical pen that I was using for my drawing subjects were all borrowed from our kapitbahay. When I reached my second year college, earning 60 pesos per day was not good enough to finance my schooling. But I was very lucky to find a better paying job as a service crew in the #1 food chain store in the Philippines, Jollibee Corporation. I held the job from second year until I graduated from college. I became a regular employee of Jollibee because I was hard-working. Being a working student at that time was difficult. We know for the fact that the standard set by TIP for each student is high. Hindi pwede ang school bukol. I studied in the morning and worked in the afternoon until evening. The drawback of course, was I did not have enough time to study my lessons. The only time to study and learn was during classroom lectures and discussion. I really needed to listen hard to the lectures of my professors during class to survive engineering courses. You know, when I was not at work, I did not want to sleep early. Kung pwede lang na hindi ako matulog, gagawin ko, as I wanted to optimize my time, reading books, watching movies, and involved in sporting activities. Wala akong sinasayang na panahon at the time, but with God's blessings and determination, all sacrifices paid off when I graduated from college. With my diploma, I knew that it was my way out of poverty. I had a short stint with a small company, almost straight from college. I then joined Magsaysay Group of Companies as a technical assistant. After 3 years, I was promoted to a managerial position and headed the tankering operations of Magsaysay. At the age of 25, I was managing 2 LPG vessels, 5 petroleum vessels of Magsaysay, trading locally and internationally. After being promoted and becoming a full-fledged manager, I never stopped learning. In 2000, I took up Bachelor of Business Management in a public university. In 2002, I took up my Master's in Business Administration. Moreover, I took up short courses such as Accounting for Non-Accountants, Entrepreneurship and Distribution course in Asian Institute of Management. More recently, in 2008, because of the demand of my work, I completed my Diploma in Logistics Management through distance learning provided by Northwest Kent College of London. I owe my promotion to my integrity. My integrity was truly appreciated by our company, and they made me one of the youngest managers of Magsaysay. During my early years in Magsaysay, one of my responsibility was to supply fuel for our 7 tanker vessels. Temptation at the time was very strong. One of our fuel suppliers offered me a commission or kickback of 50 cents per liter if I buy fuel from his company. One of our vessels at the time was consuming 10,000 liters of crude oil per day. For the 7 vessels I was handling, we consume about 70,000 liters of fuel per day. If I accepted the offer, it would have made me 35,000 liters per day. Hindi na ako lalayo. Months ago, our company bought a new ship. Since it was my task to give the final approval of the sale, I was approached and offered a brand new Pajero vehicle by one of the bidders to convince the management of Magsaysay to approve the sale. But because of the values my parents